Hi, Ryan. I wanted to leave you some feedback on your rough draft. Overall, I think it's going pretty well. Um, you have a good sense of chronological organization. So in some ways, I kind of feel like the the like bare bones story arc is there, right? So one of the things I talked to you guys about in class this week is you probably have like a lot of good ideas, but the complete arc isn't there. I think that you have a good sense of what that sketch is, right? Where I see a clear beginning, a middle, and an end, with the beginning being that were a very introverted child, so much to the point that you didn't talk a lot, but then that started to change once you entered high school, where you in some ways found yourself somewhat isolated, but through football you were able to really like come into yourself. So I think that that's an interesting story. Um, Here's the things that I'd like to see from you. So in this draft, what you're doing is a lot of like telling, right, rather than showing. So remember this week we talked about descriptive detail. What I'd like you to do is work on slowing down your pace in some of these scenes and really stretching them out with descriptive detail. I want you to also spend some time thinking about like what the middle is going to be, right? So essentially what's going to be the climax. So what's going to be your big moment of change? Like you mentioned it briefly, where you're just kind of telling us in high school you changed because you really were a racial minority, but then also because of football. So if you could show us that moment of change, right? That where you begin to change and really like came into your own, right? So if you could basically capture that in action. So maybe through a conversation between another person, or maybe through a gesture or an act, or So if you could show us that, I think that that you could have a really good arc. One thing that I want you to edit for is introductory phrases. So when you begin sentences with words like when and since and as, know that there will be a comma somewhere in the sentence. And the comma in this case will occur after the natural pause. So here you say, when I was younger, I disconnect from myself. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I read that wrong. When I was younger, I disconnect myself from people and groups simply because I would allow anxiety to take over. Hopefully you heard where that natural pause was. When I was younger, comma, that's where that goes. I disconnect myself from people and groups. So really what's going on there grammatically is this is the complete sentence, and everything before that is like an introductory phrase. You got the same thing going on here. Since a young age, I've been this way. Here you want a comma. As an infant, you want a comma after infant. I would never talk it was unless it was to my parents. So be certain to edit for those intro phrases. So here's what I want to see from you. I want to see more descriptive detail. I want to see you work on those narrative strategies like descriptive writing, and I really want you to draw out that climax, that big moment of change in this text. And if you do, I think that this will be a pretty good narrative. All right, I look forward to seeing where you